Good morning, my children, and welcome to your English class, the class of the teacher Jacob. Today, my children, we're going to continue with a very important and very interesting topic that we already saw it in the past. But remember, it's important to remember it because in the future, if you decide to study English, it's going to help you a lot. Si ustedes en el futuro deciden seguir estudiando inglés como una segunda lengua, pues este tema les va a ayudar mucho. We are going to talk about singular objects, okay? Now, before we start with all of this that is behind the teacher, let's see the definition of the word singular. Singular in Spanish, singular, refers to one object, okay? Only one. It's not referring to two objects, three, four, no, only one. So remember, the word singular equals one object, okay? Now, in order to transform objects into singular, we need to add an or a, okay? Remember, if we are going to write an, si nosotros escribimos an, is because the first letter of the word begins with a vowel, okay? Recuerden que si la primera letra de la palabra comienza con una vocal, we have to write an. Tenemos que escribir an. That in Spanish means un o una, okay? Y de esa forma transformamos nuestra palabra en singular, okay? If the word doesn't begin with a vowel, si la palabra no empieza con una vocal, okay, we are only going to write a. Únicamente escribiremos a, okay? One more time, remember. And if the word begins with a vowel, si la palabra empieza con una vocal. And what are the vowels? Remember, there are 5 letters and I got them right here. A, E, I, O, and U. These are the 5 vowels that we find in the alphabet, okay? Now, if the word doesn't begin with these vowels, si la palabra no empieza con una vocal, we are going to write a only. Únicamente vamos a escribir a, okay? Very good. Now, under the explanation, I have several words. Tengo varias palabras. Let's transform these words. Vamos a transformar estas palabras into singular objects, okay? Quiere decir entre solo un objeto. So, let's begin with some of the examples. The first one is the word ambulance. Remember, an ambulance is part of the means of transportation, es parte de los medios de transporte, and the ambulance is almost like a car. It's similar to a car, but it's bigger because inside of them they carry the person that is injured, okay? Es como un carro, pero un poco más grande, porque pues adentro ahí van las personas que están lastimadas o tuvieron un accidente. Those are the ambulances. Now, the word ambulance begins with the letter A. Now, the letter A, is it a vowel? Yes, it is. So, in order to transform this word into singular, para que esta palabra quede singular, ¿qué vamos a agregar? An o a. An, very good. An ambulance, okay? In Spanish, una ambulancia. Let's continue with the second word. For the second word, we have doll. Now, the word doll begins with the letter D. Now, remember, the doll is part of the family of toys. For example, Barbie or some of those Monster High toys, those are dolls, son muñecas, okay? Now, the word doll begins with the letter D. The letter D, is it a vowel? No, it isn't. So, what do we have to write? ¿Qué vamos a escribir para que sea singular esta palabra? An o a. Ah, very good. doll, okay? In Spanish, una muñeca. Let's go under. On the third word, we have igloo. The word is igloo. Now remember, the igloo is the house of the penguins, la casa de los pingüinos. Now, the word igloo begins with the letter I. I of India. Now, the word I, the letter I, the letter I. Is it a vowel? ¿Es una vocal? Yes, it is. It's right here. So, an or a, which one of the two? An. Very good. An igloo. Okay? Remember, in Spanish, un igloo. Let's continue with the second line. Okay? So, for the second row, para la segunda fila, we commence with the word pan. Now remember, the word pan is not talking about the pan that we eat, that is called bread. It's not talking about Peter Pan. Remember, this word is an object that we find in the kitchen. Okay, it's where we put the eggs, where we cook the food, where we cook the meat. Okay, sartén. Now the word pan begins with the letter P. The letter P, is it a vowel? No, it isn't. So, what do we put? An or a? Ah, very good. A pan. In Spanish, un sartén. Let's go under to the second word. The second word, it says parrot. Now, parrot is an animal, and parrot is part of the family of the birds, parte de la familia de las aves. The parrot is un perico. Now, the word parrot begins with the letter P. The letter P. Is it a vowel? No, it isn't. So, what do we put? A or an? A parrot. In Spanish, un perico. And finally, we have the word orange. Now, the word orange, remember, is if we are talking about probably the color or the fruit, okay? Now, the word orange begins with the letter O. The letter O. Is it a vowel? Yes, it is. It's right here. So, what do we put? An or a? An. Very good. An orange. In Spanish, una naranja. So that's it for today, my children. In your activity, in your printed activity, you have more examples and exercises like the one that we just did. Okay, so remember, you have to write the correct option, an or a, according, one more time, an if the word begins with a vowel, or a if it doesn't begins with it. Okay? Now remember, next to the words, you have the objects, so you know what's their meaning, para que ustedes sepan cuál es el significado de la palabra. Okay? And if you want to paint them at the end of the exercise, ustedes lo quieren colorear, there is no problem. Remember, the most important part here is that you know the difference an or a when we are talking about singular objects. And one more time, singular means one, only one object. So that's it for today, my children. I hope that you have an excellent day. Take care. Goodbye.